live the life beyond the boundaries we set on ourselves, to live and to run boundless, to be inspired, to achieve, to overcome the mountaintop in our life. Embrace the journey, become boundless.
Hello, family. Welcome to the fourth episode of Live, Run, Boundless. My next guest, I have to learn, or still learning, to overcome the hills of her life and become one of the most well-known trail runners or ultra runner in the UK. But not only a runner, but she's like a female, biracial runner. So welcome to Live, Run, Boundless podcast, Miss Sabrina Pace-Humphreys.
Oh, thank you. That was a great introduction.
Yes. So Sabrina, life, the UK, all the way from the UK.
Oh, yeah.
So how, for those that probably don't know, like myself, how is day-to-day life in the UK compared to the US? Is it similar? Is it different?
I think it's, to be honest with you, especially, I'm a mother of 4 and grandmother of 2. So my life revolves around working, training, looking after the kids, and, with a lot of more of the activism work around Black Lives Matters now, a lot of my time is taken up with holding kind of council, government, the trail running community to account in terms of when it comes to diversity across all areas, really. So I think probably the life in the UK, I mean, we don't have a president like you, but we have a prime minister who's a bit bonkers.
Okay.
So yeah, it's we've had a big thing over here in the UK where we had a lot of the exam results came out last week, and our government said that they were going to stand as they were, and now they've done a big U-turn. So yeah, our exam system's a bit of a mess at the moment. But I think other than that, UK life and US life is probably quite similar, except we don't get the weather. We don't get the weather you're having. It's raining here.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, in the U.S., some places get a lot of rain. Some places in the U.S. get a lot of sunshine and heat.
Yeah.
Well, it varies throughout the U.S. I say like the weather varies. Yeah. So definitely.
We have a lot of rain in the UK. We have a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah.
We've just come out of a heat wave.
Oh man.
And the thing is about the UK people, we like to talk about the weather all the time. So if it's too hot, we'll say it's far too hot. We don't want it this hot. When it's cold and raining, we're like, why can't we live somewhere where it's hot? We're never happy. Yeah. British people are never happy, and their favorite pastime is to talk about the weather.
Our favorite pastime, well, depending where you're at, is sports, like baseball, but college football, depend the season, depending where you're at, But since the pandemic, a lot of upset people,
God, yeah, in sports.
Yeah. So we love all the sports,
Yeah, I love sports. I got totally into, and this is what I love about America. When I've been over to America, I love the nation's obsession with sports and sports teams. And when I was over here, I got totally into a Netflix documentary all about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Oh my goodness. And I was like, if I was American, I think basketball might be my absolute obsession.
We have Michael Jordan. Is definitely Michael Jordan is worldwide. It's kind of funny, Growing up as a kid, I was never a Michael Jordan fan. I was like the Magic Johnson Lakers.
Yes.
Even growing up, even grew up in the whole other side of the U.S. And I was always a Laker fan, So it was great. The basketball is big.
It was just such an interesting because basketball over here, like our biggest sports are like football and rugby.
Oh yeah.
Those are our like national sports. So
Okay.
I love what I love about America is that you're so big and that you have like, you know, hockey,
Yes.
you have baseball, you have
Yeah.
basketball, you
Yeah.
have soccer, you have just
And
everything.
American football. So if you say football,
Yes.
you know, if you say football, well, what football you talking about? You talk American
I'm talking
football?
about what you probably consider soccer
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
where you have American football, which is
yeah.
massive.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that connection. Say football. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we don't use our foot a whole lot. We use more of our arm and running. Time we do our foot, we cook a field goal or something like that. But it calls
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, but that's cool. So we got some similarities, some difference. In the US and the UK, so that's pretty cool, Cool. Yeah, so yeah. But no, like running, I mean, I connect with you in my Instagram page, through the running, because you was on the cover of the Running World magazine, and the rest
Yeah.
issue, and I was also so that's pretty cool. But I realized, look at your bio and stuff like that, you wasn't always a runner.
No.
No. So how was your life before running? How's life now? How life was growing up as a biracial woman in the UK and dealing with racism and all that. How was
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I only got into running after I had my fourth child. So that was like
Okay.
11 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hated running. Like when I was growing up, I wanted to be a Florence Griffith Joyner. I wanted to be a
Wow.
sprinter. I
Wow.
wanted to be, I wanted to be, but
Yeah.
I just didn't have the speed in my legs. So I didn't become a sprinter. And,
Okay.
I come from I'm kind of biracial. My mother's white, my dad's black.
Yeah.
And I grew up in this very, very white town,
Yeah.
small countryside town in the
Okay.
UK.
Okay.
And I didn't know anyone. There was no one else that looked like me. There was
Wow.
no one else that I could identify with and relate to. And
Wow.
with being seen as like the only black kid in town,
Yeah.
that meant that a lot of racist abuse,
Yeah.
physical,
Yeah.
verbal,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard growing up when you have no people of color around you that you
Yeah. I can
can
imagine.
share that stuff with and say, how did you deal with this?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up very shy. I was a very shy, very withdrawn, very scared,
Mm.
no self-identity
Yeah.
at all, because you're told, well, you're not black, you're not like us, you're other, you don't look like us, your hair's not like us. My mother's white, she had no idea what to do with my hair, so she
Yeah.
just used to kind of comb it and pat it down, if you can imagine. Like, it's just, and I had national big thick glasses because I'm very short-sighted. Yeah, so I was not, I was like a target. And I never really got into exercise until I had my first child. So I fell pregnant at 17.
Okay, yeah.
And I had my first baby at 18.
Okay.
And I just put on a lot of weight. When I'm pregnant, I put on lots of weight always, because it's just an excuse to eat good food. Lots of it.
Yeah.
And lots of it. So I remember I joined the gym, and I hated running though. It was only in the last 11 years that I put on a lot of weight with my fourth child, and I thought I was too ashamed to go to the gym, and I thought, well, maybe I can try doing a walk run.
Okay,
That was 11 years ago, and that first run, it was horrendous.
Oh, wow.
It was so hard. Can you
Okay.
remember your first run? Like the first run you ever did, and you're like,
yeah.
I felt like my body was breaking apart, that my lungs were going to explode.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it just sparked something in me that made me think, if I can just do this, well, what if I do a little bit more? And what if I do a little bit more?
Yeah.
And I think I've always been like that in life. I've kind of always wanted to try and prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from being a biracial girl stroke woman, and people telling you you can't do that, or you don't belong here, or you're not right for this, and thinking, well, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, definitely. You know, it's just I guess that probably a reason why why I kept you motivated to that during those times. You know. Yeah. So,
Yeah. It definitely. I think it definitely did. I think that's the thing about, you know, our lived experience as Black people, is that it actually, all of that, you know, if you've suffered at the hands of racists, then you internalize that stuff. But I think that it also causes you to develop a can do.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how I can change things. I'm going to show you how I will absolutely exceed your expectations of me. I've just always been, especially growing up, I've always been that way inclined. And would I, if I could go back and change things? Well, yeah, I would, because some of the stuff I went through was horrendous.
Yeah.
But also it shaped me into the person that I am.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we wish things could have been different. Maybe, you know, back how we were raised or stuff like that. It's all about like, it's all part of our journey in life, you know. And same had to go with you know, and just embracing that, you know. So I'm like, it seemed like a mistake, you know, but we could really reflect on it. It's like, you know, it was something that we had to go to help us to become the person that we are right now, you know.
I think so. I think that, you know, I'm a true believer, and I've seen it transpire in my life. That everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Everything happens for a reason, and it's part of our journey.
Yes.
It's part of our lived experience, and it's part of what we pass on. And I believe that life is a constant evolution of learning. So it's part. So that's part of my journey. And yeah, it's been really, really hard, but also there have been moments of illuminating freedom, especially over the last kind of couple of months, since I've really stepped into the light of activism and of doing my bit in terms of to change the status quo when it comes to social justice of Black people.
Okay. Have that been something you always been involved in? You know, being an activist, you know, and just social justice and things like that. That's something you always been part of your life?
It's not. No, it's not. It's for many years. So I basically I ran my own company. So I ran my own company for 16 years. So I was busy building the business, looking after the kids. My husband was like kind of co-partner in that, and so I was busy like just living. And it's only really, you know, it's kind of almost to acknowledge what I went through for years and years and years of my life at the hands of racists. There were some points in my life where I just couldn't even really, I couldn't think about it because it was just too traumatic. But I think that we had 3 Black Lives Matter protests in my town. Bear in mind what I said, like my town is predominantly white. And when it was the first protest, I felt compelled to get up and speak about my experience of racism in my town. And it just, I think for so many years I had been quite mute about what had gone on and how I really felt about that, and also how other Black people were being targeted that live locally as well. And it was just a light bulb moment, Kenneth. It was a light bulb moment in terms of me finding my voice around rural racism, and around how it's different, how rural racism transpires differently in the country in the UK than it does from an urban city environment. And it's denied. People move to the country in the UK because it's kind of this ideal life. It's lots of fields, you know, very you know, farmlands, etc. But actually, as a person of color living in a country, that the lived experience for us is very different. It's very, it can be very toxic, very traumatic. And I just think, you know, with the George Floyd and George Floyd and BLM, and then the protest we had in Stroud, it was just a moment of realization that actually I needed to stand up and be counted and to facilitate change. And the only way to do that was to have a voice and to challenge.
Definitely. It's amazing how the George Floyd incident, but the murder, how that reached worldwide, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it was here. I mean, it was really, I don't know if you have heard of the Colston statue being brought down in Bristol. So there was a statue of a black slave trader called Edward Colston.
Oh, no.
And Bristol is like my nearest city to Stroud.
Okay.
And this, and the whole city was basically founded on the spoils trade. And there was this massive statue, and it was brought down. It was brought down by protesters, and so it was a real, I think, for racial equality and equity in the UK. I think that it feels as if there's been a bit of a shift, because because we are now finding our voices, and people are being made to listen.
Okay, then. Yes. That's good. So, how big is your hometown? Your small. How many people? You know.
There's probably around about, I want to say probably about 15,000 people in my hometown.
Okay, then.
So it's like a little bit. It's called a town, so we're not a city.
Yeah, town. Yeah.
But it's a town in the UK where within the media it's like an idyll. It's the Cotswold rolling hills, it's golden honeystone houses, it's farmers market, you know, it's the place that a lot of tourists come. If they're coming to visit the UK, then they'll come to the Cotswolds, because it's kind of like the place to go. And in so many ways, I'm fortunate. I know I'm fortunate to live where I live. But with that, there's always a flip side. And the flip side is that there just aren't, that the black community is non-existent almost.
Wow. Well, I probably already mentioned it before. You know, the reason for it is just like black people just not gravitate to moving there, or what?
Yeah. I think that I think what happened with Empire Windrush after World War II, the UK government encouraged Black Caribbeans to come to the UK to help to rebuild England. And they came on a ship called Empire Windrush. And what happened with that after World War II is that black people were sent to work within cities in the UK to rebuild the big cities, so London, Birmingham, Manchester. And what happens with that is that when you have, as you may well be aware, when you have black people who are being taken to a specific area within a country, what happens is as they get older and they grow generationally, you live around that area. So it comes with, it's that 97% of black people in the UK live in cities. So therefore, you know, the countryside is the perception, and the it's a white place. So therefore, you can live in London and get a train half an hour outside London, and you go from being in a very diverse, very culturally mixed environment to a predominantly white environment where you do not see other people who look like you. And I think a lot of it does come from the urbanization, call it the urbanization of black people. So black people are told, well, consciously and subconsciously, the cities are where you belong. Kind of countryside isn't necessarily really for you, and that translates in the lack of diversity in black people enjoying outdoor pursuits, black people in trail running, black people in hiking, black people in mountain climbing. and these are some of the issues that Black Trail Runners, the community that I've co-founded, are starting to address.
Okay, then. That's good. You know what you're doing. Get some history lesson. Well, where you're from. So that's good. I know with your obstacle. I know you got a lot of obstacles you have to overcome in your life, and a couple of like dealing with depression and anxieties. And tell me more about it and how you overcome it. And anxiety is something you're still trying to overcome at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think my battles with depression and anxiety, I think really certainly anxiety started from a very, very young age, and it certainly was to do with racism and feeling that I didn't belong, and that anxiety started as a small seed, and then as each year goes by, it builds and into something more. And my anxiety transpires in a lack of self-worth, self-esteem, not feeling good enough, always feeling that I have to prove myself, worrying what people think of me, worrying whether I'm doing something, all of those kind of anxious thoughts that stop you from doing the next thing that will help, but you're so caught up in it. So I think my anxiety has always been kind of like the devil on my shoulder. And the depression I suffered, I think my first real dark time was after I had my first child, and I suffered from post-natal depression. And it was such a strange feeling and such a strange illness in the sense of just not feeling like I was of this world, or not feeling a connection with the baby, not feeling a connection with myself, kind of almost when I'm in those bouts of depression, it's kind of almost as if I'm outside my body and I can be looking on myself, how to conduct myself. And I've had a lot of therapy, and I say I battle it, but I live with it. My anxiety is something that is kind of constantly there. Some days worse, some days better. And my bouts of depression, I think they very much link in with if I'm too busy, if I'm too overwhelmed. It's kind of almost as if my brain wants to start shutting down, and I need to be really, really aware of that. And I can I think I'm more in tune with my body now, that it's almost like I can feel it coming. I can feel that almost sense of dread in the back of my head. And then I know that I need to like put the brakes on and really self-care, and really listen, but I think the anxiety for me can be crippling, and it everyone kind of says, well, how can you suffer with anxiety? You're so confident and you do this and you do that. And I'm like, some of the most confident people are highly, highly anxious people, highly anxious. And so it's kind of almost, I want to say to people, like, don't let what you see fool you into thinking, oh my God, those people would never have to suffer with feelings of depression or anxiety, because it is often those people that seem totally with it and on it that really, really do struggle. And I am one of those people, but I have developed a bit of a system for using my anxiety in order to help me to achieve my goals. So I have practices in place that help me to channel those anxious thoughts, so I can flip them and actually use them for positive outcome in my life.
So what are some of those channels that you go to, to help you out?
Some of those channels that I go to are to really, one of the first thing I do when I feel really highly is I really focus. So therefore my anxiety, the feelings and the thoughts come in my head are like a dozen at a time. They're constantly there. So I find that if I can focus solely on something, it kind of almost helps me to clear out all of those different voices in my head to find that one stream of consciousness. So when I was training for the Marathon Des Sables, which is an ultra marathon in the Sahara Desert,
Oh yes.
I was highly anxious about doing that.
Oh.
But what I did is when I started my training, I focused so much on finding out everything I could about the race,
Okay.
finding out everything I could about running in sand, running in hot weather, running with 10 kilos on your back. I was really, every day I would be like, okay, for the next hour, I'm just going to focus on how hot it gets in the Sahara Desert.
Okay.
And I would research it also. Being able to really focus on one thing is a really great way of starting to block out the other noises in your head that kind of want you going from here to there to here to there. And another thing that I found is really, really important for me in terms of managing my anxiety is to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes. I learned that over the years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like really putting yourself, because we all catastrophize, don't we? All think, oh my God, that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna and actually it barely ever does turn out that way. We just make it this massive thing in our head. So I practice. So in a race situation, so if I'm training, so like I've been doing a lot of mountain races lately, and I always really worry about falling off the side of the mountain when I'm descending. So when I'm running down, and I have this real fear of just falling. So what I've done in my training is like, I know that that's really uncomfortable for me running down a mountain. I go really slowly, but if I want to get better, I need to go a bit faster. So I practice going up and down, and I put myself constantly in uncomfortable situations in my training so that come the day I do the race and I'm in that uncomfortable situation, I'm not freaking out and thinking, you know? So and it translates to everything, and it's even with conversations around race, around Black Lives Matter, around equality and equity, etc. What I've been saying to brands and organizations that we've been talking to is like, as white people, you have got to get uncomfortable talking about these issues, because the problem is that you don't want to talk about them. You don't want to talk about why you have no Black representation in your board, in your business. You don't want to talk about why there are no Black athletes being represented on your sports brands, but you've got to get comfortable being in those uncomfortable situations and conversations, because without them there can be no change.
Definitely. You know, it's all about change, all about being better. You know. So definitely. You know, we got to learn to be comfortable
being uncomfortable.
Definitely. Just what, and then that would do life, running, all that. You know.
Everything we do, it's about it's the practice of being of getting a sense of confidence or of comfortableness in situations which we previously would have thought, oh my God, I could never, I can't have that conversation with my boss, my wife, my partner, my kids, my friends. And it's about saying, okay, I need to put myself into that, because without that experience, or without me addressing that, I cannot develop as a human and have the potential or step into the potential that I know is there for me to take.
Definitely. So it's all about growing. You know, it's just the only way you could grow, I believe. You know, so definitely. With that, you know, with your running the past few years, being a late bloomer, how have running? Why running? You know, why you take a running? How have running helped you in your life journey? So
I think that running is it's a cathartic way to move for me. So what I love about running as opposed to other sports or other ways to keep fit is the sense of rhythm, the rhythm of the breath, the rhythm of the body.
Okay, yeah.
Feeling that you feel when you're running, especially when you're running in nature, especially when you're running on a trail or through a forest or on a mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And there is no, I've tried, I mean, I'm a qualified personal trainer.
Okay.
I've taught exercise,
Yeah.
you know, aerobics classes. I'm a run coach, but there is no other exercise that I have done or I've tried that gives me the sense of freedom, of being at one with my body and mind than running gives me. It's everything about it. It's the hearing my heartbeat in my ear. It is my breathing. It is my rhythm. It is how strong I feel I am physically. And it gives me, and I never, you know, there are some runs that I do and I think, oh, I don't want to go out, I don't want to go, it's too wet or it's too hot or it's going to be long, or but I've never come back from a run and thought I wish I hadn't done that. I've always come back and thought I'm really glad I did that. I'm really glad I did it. And I think that I've tried so many other sports and I just don't get that feeling from anything else.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, it's something special about running, especially like for me, like trails and hills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just rather running pure on by myself. It can be my meditation. It can be my time away for the noise and things like that. You know,
Nothing like it, is there? There's just that you and the trails. You know, when I do a lot of early morning, just something about running through on a trail when the you know, the mist is lifting, the sun is breaking through. It's like heaven on earth. You know, it is such a cathartic, meditative experience. And what other sport, what other form of fitness can you just stand there and go like, wow, you know, wow. It's you know, I've never had that in a spinning class. I've never had it in the weights room. I've never had it in an aerobics class, but I've had it a lot of time when I've been running.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, so it's just like a time that you can sometimes just get away, you know, from everything.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, you know. When my dad get up early in the morning sometimes and just and watch the sunrise over the mountains. You know, while I run up the trails, no hills, and just with a beautiful sight, just like I done a few days ago, this past Sunday. You know, so
it's beautiful, isn't it? It's so beautiful, and it just I wish I had come to it so much younger, you know, where I had more. But then I just think, as we've said, like everything happens for a reason. You know, there's a reason that I wasn't supposed to come to it at a young age, and that I can now. And I think having grandchildren now, like I'm probably the fittest that I've ever been, and that's my gift to them. Like I can still run around after them and be as healthy and fit as I can, and running trails helps me do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, so it's a good going back to that ultra marathon you did. You call like the toughest foot race in the UK.
On Earth, Kenny.
On Earth. Oh, my bad. Let me take it back. Not just the UK, but
on
Earth. Okay. So what your motivation to do something like that? You know, tell me more about this toughest foot race on Earth. You know?
On Earth. I chose to do it because I had given up alcohol. So I have really addictive personality. I had been working hard, playing really hard, and it was my relationship with alcohol was going down a path that was not going to be conducive to me having a happy life. So I gave up alcohol, and my 40th birthday was like 2.5 years away. And I thought, everyone kept saying to me, oh, well, what are you going to do for your 40th birthday if you don't drink alcohol? Like, are you going to have a party? And I was like, no, I think I want to do something that is life-changing. I want to do something that is challenging, is an adventure. And there was this documentary on the Discovery Channel, which was called The Toughest Foot Race on Earth with James Crack. James Cracknell in the UK is like an Olympic gold medalist.
Okay, yeah.
And he'd gone out and done this 6-day, 250-kilometer ultra marathon, multi-day in the Sahara Desert. You carry all of your own kit.
Wow.
You are totally self-sufficient. All your food, your clothes, your medical supplies, everything.
All right. Okay.
And I hate the heat. At that time, I hated the heat. I hated running on sand. I'd never done an ultra marathon.
Yeah.
And it just sparked something in me that made me think, I wonder if I can. I wonder if I can. And then anxiety got the better of me, and my head was saying, don't be silly, don't be stupid, you'll never be able to do that, you can only run marathons on the road. And I focused, I found out everything I could about the race. And within 6 months I was sat in front of the computer, poised to enter and pay my money. And then I had 2 years of solid training to get me to that start line. And it was the 2 years of highs and massive lows, whereas I was like, how can I manage being a mum, running a business, having friends, making sure my husband's happy? But you know what, Kenneth, it was a journey. And I couldn't believe it when I got to that start line and I was not injured, and I looked around me at these people from all around the world, because it's an international ultra marathon. And I was like, I looked to my left and there were these massive sand dunes, and I looked to the right and there were these massive mountains, and I'm in the middle of the Sahara Desert. I'm like, I'm just a biracial girl from the Cotswolds and Stroud. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. But it was the best experience of my life. It was the Marathon Des Sables. If you ever or anyone ever gets a chance to even contemplate doing it, I would say absolutely go for it. I want to go back one day because it holds a special place in my heart. It was amazing. And the thing is, if you don't complete all 6 days, if you get pulled out, they take everything off you. Your number, you don't get to keep anything. Nothing. No memorabilia. To keep everything that's associated with it. It's brutal.
Okay, I can imagine, you know. Now my first ultra attempt to do my first ultra marathon was a couple of years ago in Mexico, Baja. You know, so I didn't done a whole lot of training. You know, so I got a DNF, my first DNF. You know, so so that beat me down. You know, so to take away my bill, all that too.
Oh, it's horrible. Like, I've DNF races, and it's just that. Yeah, you're like, can you let me keep something?
I know. Yeah, but we're learning a lot. I learned my lesson, what I need to do and what not to do, you know. So, hey, Well, I guess it's a good reason to come out to UK. It's not racing in the UK, right? The race in the UK?
No, it's in the Sahara Desert.
Oh, Sahara Desert. Okay.
Yeah, no, you get a plane to Morocco, and then you get a 6-hour bus ride into the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Oh, man. Ooh.
And you have to share a tent with 8 people that are strangers. And it's not even a tent. It's like it's 2 sticks with some material over the top, and that's it. And on day 3 there was a sandstorm at night, and the tents, the sticks fell down, and it was really scary. But again, it's a story.
Yes, it is a story. So you would do it again, huh?
I would love to do it again for my 50th birthday. That's my But my friend, the race that my friend wants me to do, who I was there with, is Grand to Grand, the Grand Canyon ultra marathon in America.
Yeah.
So she wants me to do that within the next couple of years. So I'd also like to do, I think there's another race in the US that you may know of called Leadville 100.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'd love to do that. I would love to do that. Yeah, my ultra running and takes me around the world, you see. So
it does. No, ultra marathon is really big, you know. Like I said, being a black man coming from the south, you know, normally all the black people don't do nothing like this, especially where I grew up, grew up in the South, in South Carolina, and you know, we don't do nothing like this, So yeah, I got started. I moved out here to California, San Diego. I got the running bug and running trail and stuff like that, and now I love it. So
and that's what I want more of. I want more black people, black men and women, to be able to access trail running because it's so good for us. It's so good for us mentally. It's so good for us physically. And a big part of my work is to look at like access, is to look at knowledge, is to look at the representation, which is how we kind of got to know each other. Because you can't be what you can't see. You can't be what you can't see. So the representation is a massive part of it.
Yeah, definitely, So just able to go out there and just represent, as a black man, run out the trails. Like other people that I know who are black, also are different color, different race or active backgrounds. So it's cool to be out there. It's cool.
Yeah.
So tell me more about the Black Trail Runners that you have co-founded. How long? How that started?
So Black Trail. I'm a co-founder of Black Trail Runners, and we are a community of black runners, black people who either have never run on the trails and just the idea of running on the trails is something that they might like to try, right through to experienced trail runners who are looking for more connection with black people in trail running. So the community that we're building is one of a safe space to share experiences, to experience events together, to educate ourselves with kind of key skills and knowledge around trail running, but also to represent as well. But another part of what we do is to campaign. So the first activism kind of campaigning we're doing has been that we put out an open letter to race organisers, basically telling them that we know that there's a problem with a lack of black representation in trail running, but what we need in order to inform policy going forward and future projects is the data. We need data from race organisers, and therefore they need to include those ethnicity data boxes, which a lot of UK organisers don't do, so that we actually have numbers, so that we can provide evidence for what we're saying, which is that the lack of representation of black people in trail running is very, very low. So that went live 2 weeks ago, and the response has been phenomenal from race organisers who will start to integrate those ethnicity boxes, who will provide us with the data, and also who want to support us in other ways in terms of skills, in terms of helping us at grassroots level to understand key access issues for black people, to ensure that there are ways to encourage black people, again, more city dwelling black people as well, to enjoy outdoor pursuits such as trail running. And from the top down, to get that representation across manufacturing companies and media, because there's a big problem with brands that they haven't had any representation of black people within their marketing, and it's almost as if we don't exist, that we're not there, we're not out here running the trails and doing our thing. We do. The brands just choose not to tell our stories, and that has to change, because for the generations to come who are looking on those newsstands or looking on social media, they need to be able to see that there are people that look like them that are enjoying this sport. So the response has been phenomenal. We only launched in July, but already the community is growing, and we are starting to facilitate ways to make change, which is just absolutely joyful.
Now nice. That's awesome what you're doing. So you get like pretty much support. A lot of people, just a lot of black people are really coming out, and being part of it. So
and it's important. It's important that we feel that we have a voice to be able to call this stuff out.
Yes.
To be able to have support within a community of
Yes.
Black people, and also white allies who want
Yeah,
to
no, definitely, you know.
but what we wanted to do is one of our key things was to be able to create a safe space
Oh yeah.
for Black people to be able to talk about their lived experiences or
Okay.
wanting to trail run, and
Yeah.
that's what our kind of Facebook community's for. It's private community,
Okay.
and it's a great place that we can be a bit more vulnerable in terms of the experiences that we've had, and encouraging to other kind of Black men and women as well. So it's really, yeah, it's really given me a lot of hope that there are some good people out there who really
Yes,
want to help to work with us to make change.
Yeah, they're definitely all good. This definitely is all good people. You know, I guess sometimes I don't see them like there's good people out there. You know, but they're all people that out there who are willing to support and help. You know, to make things better. You know, so they're definitely, you know, so they're good.
You know, there are always there's been pushback. You know, I wouldn't be being honest if I didn't. You know, there's the old normally from white people. There's the old trail running is inclusive. All you need is a pair of trainers. I don't see race. And it's like, well, that's your belief. That's your belief because you're a white person. So therefore, why would you see there being a problem when you look around and you see other white people? The fact that you haven't questioned that, I'm not going to say that that's lacking on your part. You need to look at your part in that. But I was asked in an interview earlier, you know, what can people do to support you? And I said, you know, what white people can do to support us is if you are at a race, or if you have a favorite brand and you are not seeing Black people represented or Black people participating, ask the question. Ask the question, because we, you know, if we are not there, we cannot be at every event, we cannot be contacting every brand or manufacturer. But that's where the power of, you know, not being silent about this stuff is important. You know, ask the question. You know, people are starting to have them, and people are starting to question their own beliefs around the sport, around the inclusivity that they believe was there, and start to want to work with organizations like Black Trail Runner to help to facilitate change.
Okay, then that's great. You know, and they tend to keep it going. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean it only gets bigger from here. I mean you know, we're going to be announcing on Thursday, so I think I can, you know, I think I can kind of mention this here, that, you know, we've been in conversations with Lifetime, who are the event organizers for Leadville 100 and that race that all those read. So, you know, we thought that, you know, we believe, and you might tell me differently, but we believe that like the US were ahead of the UK in terms of inclusivity, in terms of, you know, in terms of diversity in trail running, etc. But what's becoming apparent is actually that from a global perspective, you know, this is an issue globally. You know, it's an issue of Black people having access, having being able to enjoy a trail running experience is an issue globally. So the fact that we've had really, really big organizations reach out to us and say, look, how can we support? This is an issue that we want to work on, is massive.
Oh yeah, that's big. Yeah, that's a big step right there, you know. So doing some great things, you know.
It's it's the work, isn't it, Kenneth? It's the work. It's the work.
It's the work, yeah. And so with so many things going on with you, for you in your life right now, how have your family support on your journey? How had that play a part and for you and doing the thing that you're able to do right now?
I think that I think I married well. I mean, I think that I have a really, you know, my husband, who we've been married for 16 years, we've been together for 20, and he has always been a great support to me. So he's always empowered me to do the things that I believe are the right things to do, whether it's in business, whether it's personally, whether it's through sport. So he's like my number one cheerleader.
That's awesome.
And I think I found over the years that, I have this saying, you have friends for a reason, a season, and a lifetime.
Yes.
And I think as I've got older, my friendship group has kind of got smaller.
Yeah.
But those friendships have got deeper. And I think that the relationships that you develop with, I call them my tribe members. So,
like that.
I have a tribe member for everything. So whether it's somebody that I can just cry to, whether it's the person I go to that's going to be like, right, come on, girl, let's get going. Whether it's someone that kind of has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So the power of community and having a supportive community of people around you that lift you up, not tear you down, because we all have those people, or we've come across those people in our lives that say that they're for us, but actually are secretly happy when we look like we're failing. So I think as I've got older, I've kind of my BS detector has really kind of come into full force in terms of knowing who's for me or who's not for me. So I think the support structure that I developed around myself has really enabled me to do the things that I do.
That's awesome. That's great. You need that support, Now somebody
gotta have it.
So definitely that's good stuff.
And it doesn't need to be human. I have a little black dog who's 4 years old called Albie. Called Albie. And he's like my trail running partner, and he's like a massive support.
That's awesome. Sometimes you need somebody to talk, you somebody just to listen,
just to listen with his ears, like
That's cute. I like that. Oh man. So outside running, I know, expand what you do as a career outside of running. How what was that?
So for 16 years, I launched and I built a PR company, a public relations promotions agency. I came from a background of working in public relations and marketing, and I wanted to be master of my own destiny. So I started up my own agency and built that, and it was successful and award-winning. And when I started training for the MDS, actually, I was asked if I would take on coaching a group of women who were mums and who didn't have any time to run at night, but had some time during the day to run. And I said I would, because I was a qualified run leader then. And it changed my life. It made me realize that my future was in working with people to bring out the best in themselves through fitness and exercise. So I qualified, I trained as a run coach. I got my run coach qualifications. And I've trained as a personal trainer. So now my business, I folded it. Well, I kind of finished, I tied it up at the beginning of, just before lockdown. And now I am a full-time run coach and trainer, and I love it. I love working with people face to face or online to help them to be the absolute best versions of themselves they can be through fitness, through exercise, through sport. It gives me everything I need, and I love people. I love being around people, and to be able to do that as a job and help people is it's kind of what I'll retire doing.
Okay, definitely. So you turn your passion, into something to like a career, So
do what you love. What is it they say? Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
I know. Yeah, I hear that plenty of times. That's definitely. Now saying that, since this live run boundless, since about being boundless and what you do, what's your boundless motivation or your boundless thought?
I think that my boundless motivation is to, when I'm on my deathbed, and someone asks me, have you done that which you believe will make a difference, that I will look back on my life and think, yeah, I am happy with what I have done. That's my motivation for what I do, is that I don't ever want to be in a position where I regret. I regret not trying something. I regret not doing something.
No regret.
I don't want any regret. No regrets. No regrets.
No regrets.
And my thing I say to myself is, the pain is temporary, but the beauty remains.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the pain is temporary, but the beauty remains. Because when we're going through, whether it's in our social life, personal life, running life, when we're in it and we're going through it, it's like, oh my God, it's so painful. It's this changing, it's hard, it's painful. I kind of, and then you come out the other side and it's, the beauty, the joy, the change, the transformation that can occur as a result of that pain, physical or mental.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that when I was running the Marathon Des Sables, I would say to myself all the time when it was really hard, like, pain is temporary, but the beauty remains. It's like childbirth. When, as being a mother of four, and you're going through it, and you're like, oh my God, this is horrendous. And you think, why have I done this to myself again and again and again?
I know.
And then you've got this beautiful baby, and you forget, and that's why women go on to have more babies, is that the human nature, the human race, there's this thing in us that causes us to forget the pain and remember the beauty. So that's my kind of boundless thought, is, pain is temporary, but the beauty remains.
The pain is temporary, but the beauty remains. That's awesome. Yeah, I can relate to the childbearing part, but I can relate, like when they go on the hills, really crazy hills, go to the mountains, and just the pain for it, just hurting. But once you finish, you'll get to the top, you're like, man, how beautiful it is,
You're like, I know. Yeah. Climbing mountains are just, oh my goodness. I only took up mountain running 2 years ago, and it's a different discipline. I mean, it's just so hard. And as you said, those climbs where your heart's just beating out your chest, your lactate's building up, and your body is saying, no, just turn back. But then you get to a summit, you get to a ridge, and you're like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
The best views are from high up, aren't they? It's just gorgeous.
You see the beauty all around you, like to take everything on in.
Just take it in. Take it in, and you're like, no one else is here because people have given up. They've given up because the pain has become too much and they can't do it. But we've pushed on, we've pushed through the pain, and we've got the rewards, the beauty of that, and that is everything. Everything.
So thank you for that. So where could people follow you and support you and support what you're doing?
The best place, the absolute best place to follow me and to link in with my crazy life and crazy things I'm doing is via Instagram. So that's at Sab Runs Miles. And if you want to follow Black Trail Runners, it's at Black Trail Runners on Instagram. Within there, on our profile link, if you click on that, you can click a link to go onto our Facebook community as well. So yeah, I think Instagram for Black Trail Runners and at Sabrina Miles are the best place to catch up.
Okay, now also I got to check it out myself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So definitely. So thank you for being a voice, and a person for change, and use your platform to be a difference maker and a game changer, in the UK, and hopefully in the world,
I hope so.
Definitely.
I hope so. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for reaching out to me and for having me on the podcast. It's so great to connect with people. So great to connect with other Black. Just so great to connect with other Black Trail runners, mountain runners.
I know.
And I really am very grateful that you've given me the opportunity to come on and talk to you further.
I'm gratitude that you're willing to come on my podcast. So this new for me. I'm still learning, still growing, and then see what it take me, So
Yeah.
I appreciate you making me look good.
Hey, we make each other look good. That's what it's all about.
And so, so hopefully our path will cross again. I know they will.
It will.
And just able to link one another to run it in life. So I also want to thank my family, a listener, and turn into Live Run Boundless podcast.